Good morning and welcome to the first episode of our 6th week. It's a Monday. Can you believe it? Right here on Morning Momentum. We're looking forward to spending some time again with you this morning. As you can tell, my voice is a little messed up. I've been in the state of Colorado for a few days, going home, be home today. Can't wait to be home, but as for right now, let's dive in and we're going to be asking the question today, what is necessary? Got to find out. Grab you some coffee. Let's get started. On April 21st of 1980, a female runner by the name of Rosa Ruiz was declared to be the winner of the women's portion of the 84th running of the prestigious Boston Marathon. Her time of 2 hours, 31 minutes and 56 seconds was not only the fastest female runner of that race, but the fastest female time in the history of the Boston Marathon. Shortly after she was crowned the winner of the race, other runners began to voice their suspicion as to the validity of her win. One runner stated that Ruiz lacked knowledge of terms that would have been fundamental to a seasoned marathon runner. Others noticed that her physical condition upon finishing the race did not bear the signs of fatigue and exhaustion, which was shared by most of the other runners. Video footage of the race was reviewed with no evidence of Ruiz at any of the checkpoints along the course and along the race. The only image providing evidence she had even run was the clip of her crossing the finish line. Finally, two college students that were there as spectators testified that they had watched Ruiz bolt from the crowd and onto the course just a half mile from the finish line. 8 days after being crowned the winner and record holder, Ruiz would be stripped of the title. Ruiz's approach to the Boston Marathon is no doubt incredibly appalling. To attempt to overthrow exhausted runners that had endured 26.2 miles while running only 1/2 of the mile is really the apex of deception. While Ruiz's name will forever be an emblem of shame and deception, it is not an uncommon expectation in this race called life. There are many that attempt to sidestep, sacrifice, and avoid commitment that are so necessary to succeed in this thing called life. You know, there are so many disciplines and steps of preparation that are so vital and necessary, regardless of what your career path may be, regardless of the challenge that you may have accepted. If you are attempting to join in a half mile from the finish line, it may result in immediate reward and applause, but sooner or later it will bring disqualification and reproach. Here are a few necessary challenges that must be faced by everyone that desires to succeed in life. The first one is this: you must have a desire to grow. Say that again, you must have a desire to grow. If your growth and improvement is always someone else's idea, you're likely headed to a Ruiz finish. If you are constantly having to be pushed and prodded to invest in your craft, your skill, your position, the end is likely going to be very disappointing. However, if you have faith that God created you for a specific purpose and has a divine plan and you're a part of that plan, why would you be content or to settle for anything less than achieving that level of greatness? If you have been entrusted with a position of leadership, do your best to develop an insatiable hunger and desire to be the best at that position that you can be. If you have been called to use gifts or skills to help other people, decline any distraction that would move you toward mediocrity and just being average. The second area is you must have patience before preeminence. Again, regardless of the venue that you are serving in, this challenge applies. Many times we want others to trust us enough to loyally follow our lead. We want to be handed the reins. We want to be surrendered the keys to the company without having been there that long. However, before you can ask others to loyally follow, you must first be willing to demonstrate loyalty to those that lead you. Don't allow ambition to drive you to assassinate the leaders that have been placed in your life. Now, you may do things like that to try to get to the top quicker, but your motives will be witnessed by others, and you will likely eat at the same table that you prepared. You know, there's a very quick reference to the proper display of patience, and that's found in David's relationship with King Saul. Saul had been appointed by God to be the first king of Israel, but now he has been rejected by God for disobeying God's commands. As a result, his heart has been filled with evil, and he has become insanely jealous of David, who God has definitely placed his favor upon. In fact, David was anointed to be the next king of Israel, even as Saul was still sitting on the throne. Saul began to hunt David. We know the story. He's infatuated with the desire to destroy the young man that had been nothing but loyal to King Saul. David had multiple opportunities to take care of this evil king, to raise his hand against Saul. But each time he would declare, I'm not raising my hand against the man that God has positioned as an authority in my life. Without question, it would have hurried his rise to the top. Yet instead, David waited patiently and remained loyal to Saul. And as a result, we know the end story. David would be followed by a team of leaders that were incredibly loyal, and God would place him in the right position at the right time. The third thing, and this is something that probably needs to be talked about in an entire episode of Morning Momentum, but I'll just briefly talk about it here. Number 3 is don't toot your own horn. Social media, oh boy, social media is infested with people like Rosa Ruiz, deciding that instead of allowing promotion to come from above, which the psalmist writes about in Psalm 75, they take care of that themselves. Every platform of opportunity is trumpeted, every success is amplified, and every skill is self-endorsed. The Bible tells us that God will exalt those that are humble, and he will likewise cause the proud to stumble. I've learned that it's best to keep my hands on the steering wheel, my hand on the steering wheel, and let someone else toot my horn. I know it's a challenge. We want to put out all the highlights of our life, all the good things. Hall of Fame football player Walter Payton said something that was interesting. When you are good at something, you tell everyone. But when you are great at something, they tell you. I know it's awfully tempting to skip the process and just run the last half mile by proclaiming your greatness, but that's not God's way, and it really isn't a very good way to do things. These are the necessary challenges that we must all face. So today, get a hold of that insatiable desire to learn and to grow, to be patient in the process, and allow others to declare your greatness. Allow God to set you up. Don't set yourself up. Till tomorrow morning, God bless you. Have an awesome day.